to act in relation to this market has cost us almost $11.5 billion in revenue. If we were to factor in the indirect and induced revenue loss, we can estimate the total loss of revenue to be somewhere around $22.9 billion. Mr. Speaker, the incompetence of this government, the inability of this government to secure a market has cost us $22.9 billion in revenue. Direct and indirect, induced revenue. $22.9 billion. In addition, we have the loss of foreign currency, which will also affect our balance of payment position. We have farmers unable to replant. This will impact on our production figures. Additionally, we have the El Nino issues. Mr. Speaker, production at this moment is stymied by the inaction and ineffectiveness of government to address the issues facing the rice sector. Many businesses in rice-producing community has been affected with reduced demand. You have reduced sales in many of the communities. But today, we are not going to just raise these issues and leave it there. We are committed to the sustainable, continued growth of the rice sector. And we on this side of the House would like to propose the following. One, which we proposed a year ago. One, resume talks and negotiations with the government of Venezuela. Two, to remove all form of taxes and duties on fuel for the industry. Of course we did that. Of course we did that. To remove all taxes and duties. This is what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just said this. If those who are tasked with pushing this industry forward does not have an understanding of what was done to help the industry, then where are we starting from? Where are we starting from? Mr. Speaker, we ask to remove all taxes and duties on inputs for the industry, including machinery, equipment, and spares. On this issue, Mr. Speaker, we ask for the transparent public tendering of fertilizer for this industry. And not the unilateral, non-transparent way in which a high officer sought to secure fertilizer from a campaign financier. Third, Mr. Speaker, work with financial institutions. Mr. Speaker, our fourth recommendation, work with financial institutions to refinance loans of farmers. Mr. Speaker, the government needs to sit down with the banks and to work out the refinancing of loans. Farmers are losing their assets. Mr. Speaker, our fifth recommendation, to suspend payment of land leases and D&I charges. Suspend payment on land leases and D&I charges. Mr. Speaker, six, we ask to delay supplementary provision in the National Assembly to provide financial support to farmers in order to aid the purchase of seed paddy and fertilizer. We did all of this. Seven, Mr. Speaker, we ask to immediately implement minimum export prices for rice and paddy 8, we ask to implement an aggressive marketing strategy that is not headed by the Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, to implement an aggressive marketing strategy in order to enhance current prices and secure new lucrative markets. 9, Mr. Speaker, and very importantly, we ask for the immediate withdrawal and pronouncement by the government. The immediate withdrawal and the pronouncement by government that rice is not government business. We ask for the pronouncement. We ask for the pronouncement that rice is a private matter. We ask for the pronouncement that rice is a private matter to be withdrawn immediately. Mr. Speaker, these are only some of the additional recommendations that we wish to put forward to the government. And in so doing, Mr. Speaker, I conclude by saying to the rice farmer, of course, Mr. Speaker, guess what the government did? Instead of helping, they now have the 16% VAT on machinery, the tractor, and the combine. Now attract 16% VAT. We ask that this 16% be immediately withdrawn. Mr. Speaker, and as an immediate support system for the people in the rice industry, in communities where more than 80% of the income depends on rice, we ask that the electricity subsidy and water subsidy be immediately extended to these communities. Immediately extended to these communities. Mr. Speaker, why we don't give them? We are not in government now to give them. If we were there, we would have given them. Because when we left the booming industry. We didn't have a catastrophic industry. We left a booming industry. Mr. Speaker, when we were in government and bauxite faced the challenge, we gave the people of Linden the very benefits. We give the subsidy. We retrain and retool the workers to function in different aspects of the economy. So don't tell us why we don't do it. You are in government now and you must do it. Mr. Speaker, this is a highly emotional issue. Yes. And if Mr. Speaker,
I remember I interrupt only to say that I can assure you that the Speaker hears you perfectly.
Mr. Speaker, let me say this. If this is the way the government wants to treat the rice farmers, asking why we don't do it, well, I have news. I want the rice farmers to hear. And very soon, they will put us back there so we can do it for them. And we will do it for them. And we will do it for them. Mr. Speaker, I conclude by saying that today, the rice farmers know who is on their side. Today, the rice farmers know who cares about them. And I assure them that we on this side would fight to the end to ensure that they can exist in this country like any other person. I thank you.